there, welcome back to Beauty Bee, and welcome to a 2 Looks 1 palette video using the Lorac Mini Pro Palette Mystic Oak. Now, I have had this palette for right around a month, maybe more like a month and a half. I've used it a few times, and I'm going to show you 2 looks. Look is bordering on no makeup. It was pretty natural, and this one is, also no makeup. Or a gunmetal and black smoky eye, one of the two. And then at the end, we will regroup. I'll give you some thoughts on this palette, and we'll go on our merry ways. So let's get into it. Today, I think I'm gonna do something a little bit on the softer side, relatively work appropriate because I am working today. So let's start, well, to start with, I do have eye primer on, and I have set the eye primer with just a off-white shade. But I think to start the look for today, I'm going to go in with this sort of beige tan shade. I'm just going to put that all over my lid, up into my crease. I probably could have just set my eyeshadow primer down with this color, but I hadn't fully thought through what I wanted to do at that point, so here we are. That just gives me a little bit of color. It's not a ton, but it's something to start with. Okay. Now I'm going to move just on the same brush to this brown shade. Do these have names? I don't believe so. Now, as far as the finishes in this palette go, this is one of the smoother shimmer shades. Can I talk? This is one of the smoother shimmer shades in the palette. It is less glittery chunky than either of these two shades. And I can definitely make this color deeper. I am choosing to go in with a brush and not a wet brush, or with eye primer, with glitter primer, because I do want something a little bit more sheer today. Okay, so we have some definition going on. Now I want to go in, I guess we're just going to use basically one brush. Now I'm going to go into this more golden champagne shade. I'm going to pop a little bit of that right in the center of my lid. And while we're at it, I'm going to take it on my finger, same shade, and put it into the inner corner. And I think that is looking nice. I didn't notice until I sat down to film that I had just a little bit of leftover eyeliner from yesterday stuck under my eye. So know that none of that was due to fallout from this palette. It was just me not doing a great job of taking off some eyeliner, I guess. So now I'm going to go in with a smudger brush into that same brown shade. I'm going to put that along my lower lash line. And you know what, while we're here, I'm going to use the same smudger brush and just go along my upper lash line as well. Really focusing on that outer corner. And I think that'll actually be good as far as eyeshadow goes. I think I'm going to keep my face, my blush, my highlighter, my bronzer pretty basic. I think I'm going to go in to my Physicians Formula All-Stars palette, which additionally has this Wet n Wild blush in it. And I'm going to go into a mixture of that blush and this bronzer and just use that as my blush today. And I think that because that blush has so much glow to it, that it will also function as highlighter for me. So I wasn't kidding. We're keeping the actual face makeup real. So I am a mess and I have been dropping things left and right. I've probably cut out all of that noise and I don't remember exactly where I was in my explanation, but I am going to just leave my face where it is now. It's got a little bronzer, a little blush. I think that the blush has enough glow to it that it actually looks kind of highlighted too. So we're just gonna call that good. And I've pulled out 3 different lip products and we can figure out what it's gonna be. So the first option that I pulled is Rum Raisin from Revlon. This is the most brownish option that I pulled. It's also, I think, the sheer, well, it's definitely the sheerest option. The other 2 are matte finish lipsticks. This YSL 1966 has a little bit of orange to it. I think this is what I'm leaning towards. And then MAC Devoted to Chili. It's actually a pretty similar color. You know what? Let's use the MAC. I feel like I've been neglecting this lipstick lately. Do I have a good lip liner for this? Yes, I actually pulled it. Look at me being smart and then immediately forgetting that I was being intelligent. So I'm going to line my lips, and I am actually not going to talk this time while I'm lining my lips. I'm making that promise to myself right now. Okay, I talked a big game about this lip liner being a good color to go with chili, or devoted to chili, and I'm not sure I was really right, but let's give it a go. Yeah, no. It didn't work. But I think that the YSL is actually just a little bit deeper. So let's give that a go instead and see if maybe it will be a little bit better. I still don't love that combination of lip liner and lipstick, but I think that it looks a lot better than Devoted to Chili was going to. And here is my look. I do like the neutral eye with the bold lip. It's a classic for a reason, and I think that this is definitely achieving my goal of just making me look a little bit more put together, a little bit more awake, and not necessarily like I'm wearing a ton of makeup outside of my lips. So I'll see you tomorrow for my second look. Bye. Hey there, we're back for round 2 with my Lorac Mystic Oak, and I think because I want to go a little bit deeper, a little bit more smoky today, that I'm going to start out with some glitter glue. I'm using the NYX glitter primer, and I'm going to put that all over the lid. I do have some eyeshadow primer down, and I have set my eyeshadow primer, but otherwise I shouldn't be wearing any other eye makeup except for my brows. It's actually relatively late in the day. It's like 14 or so. So I've had some makeup on earlier, but I think I did a good job of removing it. So now that we've got that down, I think I want to start with this blue shade. It's very much like a gunmetal. It's beautiful. I'm going to put that on the outer, probably 2/3 of my lid. I mean, just look at the shine on that. Look at how impactful it is right away. Super impressed with the formula on these. Okay. So shade 1 done, and I'm going to just clean off my finger on my wrist so I'm not getting more shadow everywhere. Next up, I'm going to move a little bit lighter and go into the silver. Same finger and everything, but I'm going to put that on the inner portion of my lid and then overlap it a little bit with the more blue-gray. So, I mean, that's a lot of color and it's actually laying down really well. There is really no fallout to speak of. There is a little bit of extra silver on this side, but I think that was just me applying with my finger, not real fallout. That deeper gray, oh, there's a little bit of fallout on the outer corner, but otherwise, looking pretty good. Next up, I want to show you what this black can do. So I'm going to go into this angled blender brush, I think is what they call this. Sorry, the medium angled shading brush. So I wasn't right at all, except for the angled parts. And I'm going to go into that black really lightly. And I'm just going to deepen up that outer corner. Same on the other side. I'm surprised, or I'm not surprised this time, but the first time I used this black in this way, I was happily surprised by how manageable it is. I mean, I just put black in my outer corner. That could have gone really far south real fast, but I think it's actually looking really nice, and the upper part of the lid is pretty much done. I am going to go into that lightest matte, or a lighter matte, just, you know, blend everything out a little bit. But I think that is actually looking pretty nice. Do I want to... I don't think that I want to add any more of that black as liner, but let me show you just how well it can do. I mean, it can go on dark. It's not working so well in that outer corner because it's sheer. It's a nicely pigmented shade. It's just very easy to work with. And now for the lower lash line, I think I'm going to start with the gunmetal shade, and again, I'm going to use that on about the outer half of my lower lash line. And then we will switch to, Actually, let's switch to this more taupey shade. And I'll use that on the inner half. And just for a little bit of brow bone highlight, I'm going to go into the lightest shade in this palette. And hit right underneath my brows. I got my hair done this morning, and my bangs are actually like manageable now. Incredible how that happens. Oh, have I been wandering just a little bit out of frame this entire time? I'm sorry. Hopefully the makeup has been on display. So I think that is good for the eyeshadow. I'm going to apply some mascara and pull out what I'll need for the rest of my face. Be back in just a sec. Video, I really want the focal point of this whole look to be my eyes. I don't want to have too much competing with it. So I think I'm going to go with a pretty nude blush. I'm going to go into, I think this is the shade, yes, Balm Beach from the Balm. I'm just going to put a little bit of that on the apple of my cheeks and then up and back. I was knocking those over in my last video too. You'd think I'd learn, but nope. That is too much to ask of me. Oh, I went in on the blush on that side. It's fine. I'm good with it. And yeah, I actually don't think I want any contour or any bronzer. And we'll reevaluate highlighter in just a second after I have finished my lips. So for my lips, I'm going to go with a mixture of two shades. First up, I'm going to put down Bare Bud from Tarte. This is sort of a light peachy nude. And I think it goes okay with the eye look, but I think it's almost a little bit too peachy. That it almost isn't as much of a nude as I want it to be. So I'm going to add a little bit more mauve, cool it down a little bit with the shade Dead Roses from ABH. I'm just gonna mix those two on my lips. I like where that is at. And after a little bit of consideration, I have determined that I do in fact want highlighter. I know, absolutely shocking. So I'm going to go into this Wet n Wild highlighter palette. I'm going to take this white shade, and I might, you know what, while I'm here, I'm going to mix in a little bit of that pink. I'm just going to drag that across the tops of my cheekbones. And with that, we have a really quick, quite easy, nighttime appropriate look for me to hang out in my house in. So here is what we have. Now for some thoughts on the palette. Thus far, I am really, really impressed with this palette. I've done, I would say, 6 or 7 looks that prominently featured this palette. I am really pleased by the wide array of vibes that I can get. I mean, I think we saw sort of the two ends of the spectrum with my supernatural looking, almost no makeup yesterday versus, you know, a gunmetal, silver and black smoky eye today. And with both of those looks, I feel like the quality allowed it to be really easy, pretty seamless. This is, you know, not how I generally do my makeup. I would generally not be using black in this way, but I had no problem controlling it. I don't feel like I need to do really any cleanup as I'm looking at my face up close. It all looks good. So This palette is, I think, $16 regular price, and I paid that. I'm happy that I did. I think that I will likely end up purchasing another one the next time that Lorac is on sale. It doesn't happen very often at Ulta, but every once in a while it does, and I would be really interested in seeing what other colorways they have. Anyway, there are some really quick thoughts on this Lorac Mystic Oak. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Please consider liking and subscribing if you did. If you have any questions about this palette, feel free to leave them below. I don't know that I'll be able to answer them, but I'm at least willing to try. Thanks again, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!